I love it when the music's loud, but come on, strip that down for me, baby. Now there's a lot of people in the crowd, but only you can dance to me. So put your hands on my body and swing that crown for me, baby. You know I love it when the music's loud, but come on, strip that down for me. Yeah, 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 yeah.
On October 16th, 2024, Liam Payne, beloved member of One Direction, tragically passed away after plunging approximately 40 feet from a hotel window in Buenos Aires. It is not yet known whether Payne jumped from the window or fell. Payne, who rose to global fame as part of the boy band, leaves behind a legacy of music, millions of devoted fans, and a heart-wrenching story of personal battles. Details surrounding the incident are still emerging, but reports suggest Payne had been struggling with personal demons for some time, including mental health issues exacerbated by fame, addiction, and relationship challenges. Though Payne sought help over the years, these battles appeared to persist, ultimately leading to this heartbreaking moment. First responders arrived at the scene within minutes of receiving the emergency call, but despite their efforts, Payne was pronounced dead at the scene. There are no early indications of foul play, and authorities are treating the case as an apparent suicide. Payne has been open about his struggles in recent interviews, expressing the toll that fame and the pressures of living in the public eye took on him. He spoke about his isolation he felt after the meteoric rise of One Direction and the difficulties of transitioning to a solo career. Quote, "I never really got the chance to figure out who I was outside of the band," Payne had said, sharing his ongoing fight to find a sense of peace. Liam Payne's death leaves a profound void in the lives of his family, friends, and fans. The entertainment world is already pouring out tributes, remembering his talent, charisma, and the joy he brought to millions. His legacy in music is undeniable, with countless hits and unforgettable performances. But beyond his professional accomplishments, Payne often expressed a desire to be remembered as someone who tried his best to bring happiness and love to those around him. Liam Payne was just 31 years old. I'm Jason Beckerman.
I'm Derek Kaufman.
This is a special edition of Last Days, Liam Payne.
So, Jason, here's what we know so far about the tragic incident. Several witnesses reported that Payne either fell or jumped from his hotel room on the third floor of the Casa Sor Palermo Hotel in Buenos Aires. Witnesses say the incident occurred around 5 p.m. local time and noted that Liam had been acting erratically in the hotel lobby in the moments beforehand. He apparently walked into the lobby at some point, smashed a laptop computer, and then had to be escorted or carried back to his room by hotel staff. The singer was in Argentina for a reason. He was there for a Niall Horan concert. It was his former One Direction bandmate. The entire band had reunited at the show. There's lots of videos from around this time of him happily dancing in a suite at the concert earlier this month, just in early October. He posted some sweet videos with his current girlfriend, Kate Cassidy. He was an active participant on social media. This wasn't someone who was reclusive in any way, although you said, and is accurate, that he battled serious demons and spoke about them openly. You know, he was just 16 years old when he joined the group, and they were a massive sensation after launching in 2010 on The X Factor before breaking up around 2015. And he was one of the principal songwriters. And I think that's an important point to remember about Liam Payne, is that he was truly an artist. He was a member of a boy band. They were massive. They were cute, the whole thing. But he was also a very, very talented individual. And he struggled with demons that many artists struggle with. He had alcohol and prescription drug addictions. He revealed in June 2021 that he battled those demons and even had severe suicidal thoughts, is how he described them. And just earlier this week, there was a bit of personal turmoil in his life. His ex-fiancée, Maya Henry, had alleged that he left her after asking her to get an abortion. There was some back and forth where her attorneys were trying to send him a cease and desist letter to stop contacting her. So there were some problems in his life around this time. We don't want to speculate as to what drove him, whether this was an impulsive act, whether it was in any way related to what was going on in his personal life. But there's a lot that's just unfolding, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it, all of it.
He'd been struggling. You touched on this, and we're learning details sort of in real time. This is a couple of hours after word first broke of his death. We've learned what we can during that period. There is a 2022 interview that he did on Logan Paul's podcast where it was sort of a bit of a turning point for him. He was criticized afterwards because he was very dismissive, somewhat rude to both Logan Paul, but also to his former bandmates. Had some negative things to say, especially about Zayn Malik. He appeared on that podcast to be clearly intoxicated. And part of that podcast, to the points you talked about, were about his substance abuse and his mental health woes. Afterwards, he immediately checked himself into rehab. I don't think it's his first or his last stint in rehab, but this is somebody who had been struggling for a long time with a lot of mental health issues.
Absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, the band was massive. You and I, in full transparency, are a little old for One Direction, but, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, they were on that level, if not having exceeded it. They were sort of the new wave when One Direction came out.
I think, given that Harry Styles is the lead member of that band, I think it really is sort of NSYNC, Justin Timberlake sort of level, at least, maybe even bigger.
I think that's right. They topped the charts in several countries. They had hit songs like What Makes You Beautiful, Live While We're Young. They were the first band in Billboard 200 history to have their first 4 albums debut at number 1. So it's a staggering record. I mean, there's been a lot of bands, there's been a lot of Billboard history, there's been the Beatles and so forth. Yeah. They had the first 4 come out of the gate at number 1. Gives you an indication of the social media following and the fandom behind this band. And it was every member had their unique personalities, Liam included. Now, the transition of all of them to their solo careers was bumpier. Harry Styles obviously has transitioned quite smoothly into a solo career.
He's one of the biggest stars in the world.
He's a massive, massive star. Zayn Malik to a lesser extent. And, there was a bit of a mixed bag with Liam Payne. I think he probably struggled more with that than most.
Strip That Down with Quavo was a big hit. My daughter's a huge One Direction fan, huge Harry Styles fan, and there's these lists that she would come up with of the biggest solo hits. Mm-hmm. And Strip That Down is widely regarded as one of the best of all, maybe not the highest chart topper, but one of the best critically of all of those songs. A really terrific sort of
a great collaboration too. He got a lot of talent around him, and he was willing to be generous with the mic.
He did. I mean, obviously, these guys start way back in X Factor, right? That's the way they were put together. It's sort of a concoction put together by Simon Cowell. He recognized the various talents of these people who I don't believe knew each other.
Yeah, and then they were assembled like the Avengers.
He assembled them together like the Avengers. Right. He was only 14 when he first tried out for X Factor, didn't make it, but returned in 2010, and that's when he was grouped with Harry and Zayn and Niall and Louis to form One Direction, and then they went on to these incredible heights.
And what's very sad about his story is he was working on new stuff until very, very recently. He had just released a single in March 2024 called Teardrops. He's been working on a second studio album as a solo work since May 2023, and obviously was going through it. And sort of you could see that play out on social media, a lot of happy moments, but you don't know what's going on in someone's interior life, and obviously this had a very, very sad conclusion.
I mean, you talked about it. He was a songwriter first and foremost, and sometimes with great artists come great sadness.
Yeah, torment.
Great torment, right? And this is somebody who clearly suffered from a lot of torment throughout his life, exacerbated by profound addictions. Alcohol, I think, was his primary foil. Earned a number of awards, including Brit Awards, American Music Awards, and MTV Europe Music Awards, both as part of One Direction and as a solo artist. A real legacy of accomplishment for a young artist, only 31 years old, still a long life in front of him.
So as we said, the story is still developing. This is being recorded just after the news broke, so there will be more developments. But as we know now, Liam Payne has died at the age of 31.
We're only getting older, baby. And I've been thinking about it lately.